So next we have Kimahri, who, along with Lulu, comprises the two initial guardians that Yuna has at the beginning of her journey. Kimahri's backstory, which is only briefly touched upon throughout the game, hinges around his self-imposed exile from Mount Gagazet, following a fight with Baran and Yankee, the former of which breaks Kimahri's horn off, and in his shame, Kimahri opts to leave his homeland, whereupon he comes across Auron, who's dying, and promises to look after the child Yuna in his stead. So Kimahri obviously caters to the imposing yet silent and incorruptibly loyal companion who is also a kind of recurring trope in Final Fantasies and video games in general, really. However, given his due, I feel that he is actually one of the more well-rounded and developed that we find, of this stereotype, particularly in the Final Fantasy series. There's a running theme with Yuna and Tidus that they both have figures and expectations that they have to live up to in life. But looking at Kimahri, we can actually very much see that this is a concern for him as well. In the primitive societal conditions of the Ronso, wherein being small and having lost your horn, which a more Freudian observer, kind of slipping back to that, could probably attribute to some masculine phallic symbolism here. But being small and having lost his horn, Kimahri is left in a situation where he must redeem his honour in the eyes of both his tribe and those who antagonised him, Baran and Yankee. So Kimahri's plight then closely resembles this sort of upholding one's lineage and tradition, much like Braska became a high summoner, so Yuna must become a high summoner, and where Jecht was a star Blitzball player, so Tidus, became a star Blitzball player. Where Kimahri's tribe comprises of great warriors, so too must Kimahri become and prove himself a great warrior in the eyes of his tribe. And this is augmented by the fleeting instances in which we meet Yankee and Baran is really quite interesting, because they provide a window into the principles and traditions of the Ronso tribe. Yankee and Baran themselves are also quite interesting because they're not bad characters per se. In fact, we even have an instance of them helping the party, where they warn Kimahri about the summoners that go missing. But by the standards of the Ronso, this is how they behave. This is a window into their society. And, outside of the pious Yevonites, that comprise most of Spira, the Ronso operate on a very survival of the fittest kind of sort of culture. I mean, I suppose there is comparatively less, to discuss about Kimahri. And true enough, Kimahri, along with Riko, do sort of become tertiary characters. They're sort of background elements in many parts of the game. Simply because, their relevance is less so than Yuna, Tidus, and Auron. And I suppose to a lesser extent Wakka and Lulu. But I still feel that for the stereotypical role that Kimahri fulfills, he rounds it out very well, and he comes across very well, as a character in general. Finally, his voice acting and aesthetics synchronise very well, and though he is a creature, and a creature of few words at that, which is probably for the best, the few instances in which he does speak kind of work well with his general demeanour, and I think just make him a kind of good, albeit subtle, addition to the wider party at large.